Hi everyone, I'm Dr. E. Welcome to summer 2025 in English 1301. So hopefully at this point you've had the opportunity to watch some other videos that are helpful. Well, hopefully they're helpful. One is about D2L and how things are structured in our course, and the other is about our syllabus and the guidelines and expectations for our course. So both include really important information to kind of give you a sense of where we're headed, what we're going to be doing this summer session, where to find information, what to bookmark, what links to think about, that kind of thing. So you will always have weekly videos. One of them will always be just a breakdown of the upcoming week. So it's one thing to see the schedule on your screen or if you print it out on a piece of paper, but it's different to have a visual of those expectations and to have me walk through some of them. So hopefully you find this useful. It's an additional tool to help you be successful in the course, right? And that's definitely what we want. So I'm going to jump right into D2L. This is what our course looks like, right? By the time you log in, you should have an announcement here that has a link to the first video to watch, which is the D2L, kind of welcome video or introductory video. But then, you also have the table of contents. So I definitely want you to take some time to look through the Start Here module. Remember, none of this, it just means 4 of the 5 topics have been visited. So none of this relates to actually completing the work or anything like that. Don't let, these little notes about percentage seen, that kind of thing, don't let that fool you. Remember, you have access to your email here. So we're just going to jump right into the content area and go to the week 1 module. So everything here is taken directly from the schedule that you have access to if you go to the syllabus schedule and rubrics module. If you're feeling overwhelmed with the amount of information already, you are not alone. So even if you've taken online courses, even if you're an old pro at taking online courses, know that it's okay to feel overwhelmed, especially the first day, because everything looks different in every course that you're taking. If you're taking more than one course for the summer session, or if you've taken courses in the past, the way I structure things may be a little confusing or may not make as much sense to you as it does to me. So just give yourself some grace. Know that we don't necessarily have any immediate due dates on the first day, right? You have some time to kind of get used to things, click around, take a look at D2L, do what you need to do to find your comfort level, right? So this is, what our schedule looks like for this week. So I try to break it down into kind of easy bites, right? So our due days will always be Thursdays and Sundays, right? So this is ongoing. I'm trying to think of our schedule. There's nothing that's outside of Thursdays and Sundays, right? So you will always have it broken down into 3 sections: to watch, to review, and to do. So this week, these are the things you'll need to watch. You're watching what is number 3 on the list, right? So make sure you take a look at the other 2 videos. There are always quiz questions in the videos, just to encourage everyone to take a look at those because there are, it's useful. So that will hopefully be additional encouragement to watch those. So this week to review, it's just getting used to things, right? Looking at all the documents that are available, looking through all the different modules, that kind of thing. And then to do, I really want you to download your free version of the Microsoft Office Suite, which you have access to as a student. And this is because a lot of times with students, and I understand this completely, their preference is to use something like Google Docs, which is great, that's fine. Or the online version of Microsoft Word. That's great, but they're not as functional as the full version that you can download onto your own device. I know some of you may be working with devices that have been issued from your high school, or if you've checked out one of our laptops, so you may not be able to download, but just know that it is more useful and you have access to it. But I also have templates and things that are available to you so that even though those online versions are not as functional as the full downloadable version, those templates have everything set up in MLA format, so you can take advantage of that. And that's, again, in the syllabus schedule and rubrics area. All right, you have a discussion post, and I put here, so ideally Thursday is our due days for things like discussion posts. The final deadline is really going to be Sunday, okay? but it's just a strong suggestion to get it out of the way, take care of things by Thursday so that by Sunday you are moving on to those things that are due on Sunday. So I don't mean to be confusing in this sense. This is just me saying, in your mind, make Thursday the due date for that discussion post. Get it out of the way so that then you have time to work on your, like this week, your food journal, and you'll always have quizzes will always be on Sundays. Yes, you do have that 48-hour grace period, so that kind of accounts for, we can push that to Sunday for the discussion post, but then the grace period also applies to those things due on Sunday. Okay, so if you scroll down, again, I'm trying to keep it consistent in terms of the way things are broken down into bite-sized pieces. So to watch, everything's here. You're watching what will be number 3, right? To review, I've put the schedule here as well as the syllabus, and then you do have a reading due this week. I know that some of you are not going to have access to the book on the first day or even the second or even the third day, so I've given you the first reading, and then we'll really get into quite a few chapters each week are going to be due from the book, so make sure that you're getting your hands on that as soon as you're able. But I love Urban's article. I always start a semester this way because I think he really effectively breaks down this idea of what academic writing is, because it's going to be different for all of us in all these different courses. So, I think it's just super approachable. He also tackles some myths when it comes to writing that we all carry with us. Most of us will carry more than one of these myths with us, but at least one, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so you have a link directly to the discussion here. These are in the to-do section, a link directly to the quiz and to the food journal. And I also have provided a checklist. Now, I want you to know that the checklist is just a tool. It's just something for you to use. You don't have to use it, but it just gives you a sense of, okay, I have completed this. I have completed that. Please note, none of this means that it's been submitted. I don't have access to your checklist, so this is specifically for you to utilize just so you have a visual of those things that you've accomplished and everything that's due in the week, right? All right, let's jump to the discussion. This week it's just about introductions, right? And it's getting used to posting in D2L, getting used to this platform. So just take your time to read through, download Grammarly, because even though we are working in a discussion post area, your grade in this course is based on effectively communicating your ideas. And part of that is in formatting, in the grammar of it, right? I am not the grammar police, but if there are issues with grammar that are detracting from anybody understanding easily your ideas, the effective communication of your ideas, that's where things get kind of dicey. So why not use tools that are available to you, right? This is going to be on your quiz. I am encouraging you to download and use Grammarly. Just do it. Okay. So I have questions, and for this week you can just list out 1 through 6 and answer each of the questions, or for the last one it's a picture. I've put through, there's a document here about how to post, but I've also clicked, you click start a new thread. You'll put your name as the subject line. People always forget this, so don't be one of those people. Put your name as a subject line, always. You can put your pronouns if you prefer. You don't have to, but you have the option to do that. While I'm talking about pronouns, I also want you to note that in D2L you can change your preferred name. So if the name that is officially like on your transcript, if that doesn't match the name you choose, the name you prefer, or the way you identify now, you can change that in D2L. So please take advantage of that. Okay, so you'll go up to this area here and go to your profile and you can do that. Okay. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. So if we go back to the content area and to the discussion post, this is what it also looks like. You can back out and go to the full week one here. So if we go to the discussion, you'll click start a new thread and you'll put your name, chosen pronouns if you choose, and then you can just answer the questions here. It doesn't have to be indented, it doesn't have to follow Emily formatting. This is a space where that's not necessary, but it does need to be revised and edited, that kind of thing. And then to upload an image, you just click upload. You'll go and search your computer for it. It can be anything. It's just supposed to represent you in some way, okay? And then make sure you click post. Sometimes folks forget that. I've shared my introduction just as an example, and this is in no way me. You don't have to respond to me. You don't have to engage with my post. It is 100% just an example. You don't have to write as much as I have. I mean, I'm a writing and literature professor. Like, I have to write a certain amount. I share about my pets and their names. I'm not a fan of J.K. Rowling in terms of her ideology, but the names of my pets reflect past fandom. All right, as well as Supernatural. Anyhow, and then you'll see different you'll see those in all the videos. They change over time. I change them in and out. So sometimes those are the questions on the quiz. So something to keep in mind. All right. And if you want to reply to somebody, make sure that you are in their thread and hitting reply from there. You don't have to put your name here, just respond. You know, make sure you're in a thread to respond to it. Sometimes people will, in fact, just be in the actual discussion and responding just generally. So try to avoid that. Okay. So if you go down, we also have a week 1 quiz, which is based on the reading. It's based on everything in the videos. That's always going to be the case. And you do have some writing to do this week, which is our first food journal. And y'all, we're just dipping our toe into it. This is just kind of kicking us off a little bit. We are going to use writing as it relates to food. So we're going to be reading a lot about writing. We're going to be learning new ideas and strategies and approaches. But then what do we write about? So a topic that just has some sort of meaning for all of us is food. It's, you know, across the board, it's universal. You don't have to be a foodie to have something to say about food. So this is our first kind of dabbling into it. And I've given you an example of what I want. But it is just an example. You are free to take yours in whatever direction you want, as long as it meets the kind of guidelines about, you know, what I've asked for here. But I also put food can be complicated for some of us, and if it is a topic that is difficult for you for whatever reason, please feel free to reach out to me and we can do something that moves away from that and is a topic that is a bit easier for you, emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever the case may be. Don't feel like you have to force yourself, because you don't. So just reach out to me. So in 2 to 3 paragraphs, I want you to write about a meal you ate over the past week. Right? What was the meal? Why'd you choose? You know, anything related to that. So I've given you 1 paragraph example from me. And then you also have access to the templates here. So why not use them? If you open the template, of course it's not going to open. It may eventually open. It'll have information set up in MLA format, and you just change out the name, the date, you know, all of that good stuff. So it's all set up in a way that is already structured in MLA format. It's double spaced, all that stuff. It may or may not open. But that's our first week. If you have any questions, please let me know. Let me know also if you feel like it may be helpful to have kind of an open office hours where I just start a WebEx meeting and anybody can join if they have questions. But if everything is pretty straightforward and you're feeling comfortable, then we'll roll with it. So hopefully y'all are headed into a great week. Good luck. I'm here for you. Post in that Q&A discussion board. That's what it's there for. But you can always email me directly if you'd like to. All right, good luck.